Today we're talking about long runs and particularly how to approach them. What's the purpose of a long run in your training plan and what the most common mistakes are that Coach Parry sees athletes making with their long runs. My name is Brad. I'm from CoachParry.com, where we help you become fitter, faster and stronger. Don't forget to give us a like on this video if you do find any value in it, and also if you have any questions about your long runs or if there's things you want to know and you'd like us to discuss on future videos, make sure you let us know in the comments below this video. Lindsay, great to touch base again. We're getting some great questions in the forums on the Coach Parry Training Club, and some of them are about the different types of runs that make up a training plan. So you'll have easy runs, you'll have long runs, there's higher intensity tempos. We've done quite a few videos on various of those runs. Hill repeat as an example. But today we're talking about the long run, and I wanted to just sort of let's talk about what is the goal, like what's the outcome of a long run, and what is the best way to sort of tackle that when it does show up in your training plan.
Yeah, so look, the long run is a great run because it aims to achieve a lot of outcomes. The most important outcome of the long run is your base endurance, or building your endurance, helping you to develop your supply chain, in other words, your body's ability to provide energy to you across the spectrum of distances. So when people think long run, they think, oh, that's preparing for marathon. No, long run helps your body to prepare to provide fuels for the full spectrum of endurance runs, 5K, 10K, 21, you name it. Okay, so that's the physiological importance, I guess, of the long run. The long run also plays an important role in improving running economy. It plays a very important role when we are training for the much longer runs. It teaches us to be on the move for a long time, be on our feet for a long time, psychologically prepares us for going for longer distances. And it's also a run where we can do or experiment with nutrition and check which things work, what we like, what we don't like, and make sure that on race day we can stomach what it is that we're trying to use for energy. The important thing for all of those things to come together is that the long run is not a test of how fit I am now. So the long run has got absolutely nothing to do with how fast I can get from A to B. It really is an easy run. It should be a social run wherever possible. You need to be able to have conversations with people, talk a lot of rubbish, and have a great time. There is place in long runs when we get to that specific point in the training where we can use long runs to do some specific marathon or half marathon preparation work, where yes, we will go a little bit harder for portions of that long run. Those are also excellent times for us to test our nutrition plans, because when we change the intensity from our easy runs to race day, sometimes that change of intensity and the shifting of the blood from the stomach means that the things that we thought worked really well during training don't work so well. Also, it's much harder to take in fuel when you're struggling to breathe than it is when you're on a very easy run. So we will have a few select long runs with a specific goal purpose in mind where you may run a bit faster. But for the most part, your long runs are supposed to be very, very easy and building that supply chain of providing energy to you during aerobic activity.
Lindsay, as far as the long runs, the way it fits into different training plans, you've mentioned marathons and further. One of the questions that pops up quite often around our training plans is people are quite often surprised that the long runs on, for instance, the 5 or 10K training plans tend to be longer than the actual race itself. Can you tell us why that is?
Yeah, look, and that's like really a cool add on to the question, because there is a point as we go longer, all the way up to 21, our long runs are always longer than our race. And then from a 20 miler onwards, our long runs are really as long as our race. And the reason for that is quite simply is that we do need to be running a certain amount of mileage in order for our bodies to really open up new capillary pathways to extend our capillary network into the muscle. So there's kind of a minimum amount of volume that we need to do to achieve that. And then there's a point beyond, probably around 20, 22, 23 miles, depending again on age and slight gender differences. But there's a point around there where we get diminishing returns. So going beyond that point doesn't really allow for any more of those adaptations. And it definitely adds to damage in ways that are counterproductive to what we're trying to do. Joint loading, tendons, ligaments, muscles, etc. So effectively, the damage outweighs the potential benefit. So that really is the reason, because even at 5 and 10 miler, 15K, half marathon, we still need a very high aerobic power to be able to run extremely fast and sustain that speed even over those shorter distances. And so therefore we do need a minimum amount. And we had a cracking example of this in the forum the other day, where an athlete was training for a 10K, I believe. They were training for a 10K and went and won a 50K off of the 10K training plan. And that really highlights for me that there is this minimum amount of aerobic strength that is required. But beyond that, you don't get huge amounts of physiological benefit. You might get some psychological benefit, but you don't get huge amounts of physiological benefit.
Lindsay, what are the most common mistakes you see people making when they do their long runs?
Yeah, so running too hard is absolutely probably the biggest mistake that people make. Increasing long runs too quickly week on week, that is a big one. Those are probably the two biggest mistakes that people make. Stopping often. So we do want to take some walk breaks, and it's fine to stop at a gas station or petrol station, to get some fuel. But I see people stop too often, and they stop for too long. And then, and they'll stop their watches during those breaks. So when they get home, their average pace has been like a 5-minute K or an 8-minute mile, and they feel like really good. And I mean, that points towards someone who can potentially run 3 hours for a marathon. But the problem is that there's another 30 minutes of standing around time, which they've removed from there. And so actually they need to add 30 seconds or 45 seconds, 30 seconds per K, 45 seconds per mile onto that to give them an actual realistic estimate. So that's it. Running too hard, taking too many and too long breaks, and building that mileage up too quickly over the weeks.
Lindsay, as always, great to catch up. Thanks for your time today.
Cool. Cheers, Brad.
Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget, if you have any questions or if you'd like us to cover something in a future video, let us know in the chat below. Also, smash the like button if you got any value out of this. Hit the subscribe button, which is on the screen right now. You can click it over here. Also, be sure to watch our most popular video over here. And you can also catch our most recent video over here.